everyone. My name is Emila, and I am here with Tanya Fraser-Forbes, who is an aircraft technician. Tanya, can you tell us a little bit about who you work for and what you do?
I work for IMP Aerospace, and my job is an aircraft technician. So being an aircraft technician is similar to being an auto mechanic, only I work on aircraft and I do maintenance. I work on components, removing components.
How long have you been with IMP?
I've been with IMP a total of 24 years at the airport.
Have you always seen yourself in this field?
Actually, I can't actually say that I've seen myself in this field my whole life. I kind of, got to an age in high school where I wasn't quite sure of my direction, but I had a few different options. When I started out was nursing, and quickly realized that that probably wasn't maybe the right avenue at that time. So then I had to choose. I had to have a job. I always had a part-time job, and so then I thought, well, I have to do something. So I took hairdressing, and then after I took that and I was successful at that, I decided, that's fun, but that's not really. I didn't really want to make a profession of that. So I applied for IMP, for a job as cable assembler, which the cables were also part of the aircraft assemblies. So that was exciting for me for a bit, and then I had the opportunity to write an entry exam to become an aircraft technician, and I was very excited about this because I'd spent part-time hours and full-time hours, pardon me, while I went to school, high school and into the vocational school at that time, and I worked at a gas station, a service station, so there was all kinds of mechanical stuff going on, and I was involved in that. I knew how to use a wrench, I knew how to, torque nuts, and I was familiar with a lot of mechanical terminologies and stuff. So I thought, well, wow, that's quite exciting. I've always been interested in aerospace, but I just never really thought that this is something that I would like to do. When I was about 17, I'd gone and applied for the I went to the military, and I spoke to one of the recruiting officers, and I spoke about joining the military and becoming an aircraft technician. And it's funny that that's what I was leaning towards without really knowing that's where I was going with this, right? It just, when I look back and I think about it, it's like, wow, but you said that's what you wanted to do. So why would you pick something that, obviously, I've had an interest in it.
Yeah.
So I was asked some questions, and it was new. I was and at that point in time, the military had just really started themselves hiring women into the trades. And so that was new for the military to offer that experience for women. And I was kind of asked if I had spoken to my parents about my decision and my interest. And I said, well, my parents have, they have an idea, but they don't really know exactly what I'm looking for. But, I said they raised us to be independent and go for what we want, what we feel. So I said, I haven't had a great length conversation with my parents. Anyways, long and short of that is, he said, well, do you realize, are you planning on having children? Well, I was not. I might have been just 18. I think I might have just turned 18, so I could go without permission. Anyways, I said, well, I'd like to have a career first. So, I'm thinking about my career first. I'm not really thinking about children right now. I imagine eventually I would probably like to have children, but at this time I'm thinking about, okay, what am I doing when I get out of school, high school? So from that he told me that I need to go home and speak to my parents a little bit more, that I really needed to think about this. So I left there a little disheartened, and it probably was 2 years later, maybe about 2 years later, 2.5 years later, I'm offered this opportunity to become an aircraft technician with IMP.
Wow.
So, wow is right,
Yeah.
right? So I did well in school. I did well in sciences and maths, and I like to read, so I did well on the exam.
Yeah.
And that was pretty exciting. I thought, yeah, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot more to it than that, but it was great. It was great. Went for an interview. There's approximately 10 men interviewing me, and in all fairness to them, there was 4 women. There was 13 of us, but out of that 13, there was 4 women. And we were the first women that the vast majority of those men we were the first women that they actually worked side by side with.
Wow.
So we were going into a male-dominated
Yep.
work area. And so I realized that early on, and I was excited, and I was very aware of, I didn't want to tread on anybody's toes, and I just want them to realize that I did take my job seriously, and I did want to learn this stuff, and I was very excited, and I am still very excited today about my job.
Yeah. So what would you say was your experience looking back from, a young woman working with all of these older men?
Well, I had lots of support. There was a lot. I would say the vast majority of men it took a while to get used to having women working beside you. So, it might have curbed a little bit of language and what have you, but, but in saying that, the vast majority were super supportive, and, they're curious as to why I would want to get my hands dirty, and why I'd want, So it was more curiosity than anything. And then when they seen, the work ethics and the interest, and just like, I personally couldn't get enough information. Like, I spent a lot of time reading and asking questions, and some would say, oh, now I've got to go read.
Yeah.
So, they've been doing it for so long that it just became second nature to them. And so for the vast majority of them, I had a really good experience.
So having said that, has there ever been a time where maybe you've been doubted because you were a woman? And if so, what happened and how did you overcome it?
There is one time. I mean, there's been a few times, but each time was unique and a different person. I never truly experienced the same doubt and twice with any one individual. But in particular, I often think about it, and when I hear the word equality, I think of this particular time. So I was 21, perhaps 22 at this time. I might have been an apprentice for a year. And I was young. Like, some people may be quite mature and grown up and worldly at 22. Well, I wasn't. I was a very young 22 when I look back at it now. But I was keen. I was interested. I wanted to do well. And so there was this one day I was working. It was part of my apprenticeship. So we would go to different shops. So this one particular shop I was working in, it was a sheet metal shop. So we would manufacture parts. So there would be parts that need to be replaced on the aircraft, like structural parts, and we would have to make those parts and send them back to the aircraft in, within tolerances and to fit. So I worked with I had one journeyman in that shop, and then there was probably, I'm going to say 15 other men. And so, like I say, the vast majority of them were super. Like, I couldn't have asked for better. I couldn't have asked for more direction. If they seen I was doing something, like, they wouldn't necessarily lord over me or anything like that. They would just kind of watch, and if they see me about to do something that, okay, like, this could cost a lot of money for the company, we might step in now. They're really good like that. Like, they didn't wait for me to fail and then,
Right.
They'd say, okay, like, you might want to step back, have a little look at the drawing. And I was always appreciative that they did that, because I did want to do well. So that was fine. And then this one particular day, I was at the press and I was waiting my turn because there was only one press, and so I was waiting my turn. And next thing I know, this gentleman from the shop came up and he seemed irritated. And I said to him, I said, look, I only have the one job. You look like you're, trying to do something. Maybe perhaps you need to do yours before mine. And he was not happy. And he said, I don't know what you think you're doing. And so I literally was looking around, like I didn't know who he was talking to first. Like I said, I was young. Like I did. Are you talking to me? I was looking for who is this man talking to, because I hadn't had an issue with him before. I didn't realize he felt like that. There was no heads up to see that coming for me. And do you realize that you were stealing a job from a man, and there were other men here, young men that wanted this job, and you're here, and this isn't where you belong. Women don't belong here. And he was pretty intense. And I didn't really say anything at that moment. I think I was a little in shock. And I really didn't know what to say to him. He was so angry. He was really angry. And so I kind of started to say, I finished my job. I finished at the press, and he was still he was ranting, I guess is what we would call this. He was ranting. And so anyway, I stepped away and I said, the press is, I'm finished. And I turned to walk away, and he kept at me. And I turned and I looked at him and I said, I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I truly enjoy my job, and I'm not going anywhere. And I went back to my bench and I continued manufacturing my part. And the rest of the men in the shop, a good few of them, spoke to him about that. Not in front of me, but they spoke to him, and I know it got back to me, of course, and spoke to him about that. They weren't pleased. They didn't feel it was necessary, nor was it fact. And they didn't feel that way. So he cast a bad shadow on himself by behaving in such a manner. And then it was probably, I'm going to say, so nothing else was said, and I just kind of give him his space. And anyway, probably, I'm going to say 6 months to a year later, he actually approached me and apologized. He said that it was not right what he said to me. It wasn't fair, and that he felt that I most certainly did deserve to work there, and I did deserve to have that job, and that he recognized that was completely unfair, and that he should never have spoken to me like that, and nor should he ever speak to anyone else like that.
Right.
So I'm glad that he came to me and apologized. And it also made me realize, because I do believe he was being sincere, that was growth for him.
Kind of building off of what you've said so far, what are some qualities that you think someone should possess to enjoy the work that you do?
I'd have to say the interest and being curious, wanting to learn more, and always wanting to do well. And being particular is a really good asset. Yes. Yeah, we can't pull over on a cloud, so you want to be extremely particular and take a lot of pride in what you do.
So what would you say to young women who are interested in this line of work, or maybe other trades, but are a little bit hesitant to get into a male-dominated field?
I feel today, in our world today, I feel that women are accepted more so easily, because men are used to, okay, so now I'm taking a trade at the community college, or I'm going in the military and I'm working right next to a woman. So they start out right from day one beside women that are of the same like mind and interests. So I would say they would do fine. It's like any other career or that you choose, path that you choose. If you're starting out and you're with like-minded people, then you'll be comfortable and things will be good. And I mean, it's not to say, as human beings, it's not to say that everybody you work next to or come in contact with, it's always going to be easy. It's not always going to be easy, but it's sometimes not sometimes, all the time we learn from our experiences, whether it be positive or negative, because people don't have to be good to us. People choose to be good to us the same as we are to others.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us today. It was great to talk to you. And thank you for watching, and be sure to check out our other interviews.